Following more breaking news at this hour, live look at that federal courthouse in Miami. The former president, Donald Trump, scheduled to be there this afternoon. Again, he is facing 37 charges of allegedly mishandling classified documents, expected to plead not guilty.
We've got Ameer Benno here, a constitutional law attorney, and Jesse Binnall, a Trump attorney, but not representing Trump in this case. Gentlemen, thank you both for being on. We appreciate the time. Ameer, we'll start with you here. Obviously, somewhat of a formality happening today with the magistrate there. But just take us through your thoughts on the case, the charges, and what you're expecting. Again, Ameer.
Well, good morning to both of you. This morning, I mean, it's going to be, well, it's this afternoon. It'll be pretty fast. It's going to be informing Donald Trump formally of the charges against him, taking his plea. A decision will be made as to the conditions of his release, and they'll set a schedule for the case going forward. In terms of the substance of the case, some of the charges obviously are going to be subject to motions to dismiss for a variety of reasons. One, there's this conspiracy to obstruct justice charge is based in large part on communications between Trump and his lawyer that were ordered to be turned over. Now, normally those are privileged, but a judge in this case had ordered them to turn those over, and that's what Jack Smith built those charges on. That ultimately is, if it's turned out that they shouldn't have been turned over, that's privileged communications, and those charges may fail. There's a variety of other challenges that they'll bring, but this case is going to drag on, and Trump is going to make sure that this case drags on as long as possible.
Because, of course, he's not just facing these legal challenges, he's also running for president again. So there's kind of a lot on his plate right now. And, Jesse, it does depend who you ask when it comes to their analysis of how this case might go. Ultimately, I wanted to just play this perspective. This is Trump's former national security advisor, John Bolton, what he had to say about this case. Take a listen.
If he has anything like what the indictment alleges, and of course the government will have to prove it, then he has committed very serious crimes. This is a devastating indictment. I speak here as an alumnus of the Justice Department myself.
Jesse, what's your read on it?
John Bolton's legal analysis is flat wrong. There's the fact is the indictment doesn't really state a criminal offense because it ignores the reality of the situation that Congress could have made the President of the United States subject to, or even former presidents, subject to the Espionage Act for documents created during that president's term of office. Congress declined to do that. If Congress tried to do it, it may very well be found to be unconstitutional. And the reason is because traditionally, presidents actually owned the presidential documents created during their term of office. That was something that arose out of Article 2, Section 1 of the Constitution. When Congress changed that in 1978 as part of the Presidential Records Act, they could have, at that point, said, also, these documents are subject to the Espionage Act. So what John Bolton and so many others completely miss is the fact that there is not even if everything that the Justice Department says here is correct, which is it's not, there still is not an offense that is created here. And there's any number of other legal reasons why this indictment can and will fail. Unfortunately, this is another case where the permanent bureaucracy in Washington, D.C. will find any excuse to not go after people like Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, and Joe Biden, and will find any reason possible to go after Donald Trump.
Taking a live pictures here, that's Doral. That was where the former president was leaving, then heading over, rather, to the federal courthouse there in Miami. You saw an earlier shot there. There he is, one of several protesters that have been spotted outside, both for and against charges against the former president. Our reporter says about 50 protesters have shown up, mostly Trump supporters. Some obviously really taking it to the next level with the hat and the necklace and the suit, etc. But bottom line, there are a lot of those out there that do believe this is politically motivated and they're making their voices heard. There are some others that feel that Trump should be charged. This should happen. This should carry out the full extent of the law. There are some of those supporters out there as well. Miami PD has already put out a statement saying they are prepared for from 50 to 50,000, giant range, by the way, for protesters both for and against that could show up today. But back to, again, Ameer, really quickly before we wrap up here, not on the legality part of this. You're not going to see Trump today. This has really been etched in stone, metaphorically speaking. There's an underground garage that the former president is expected to go ahead and be able to access, then go underground to the courthouse where he will be, to the room, then back down to the garage. You may see his motorcade, but for the most part, that is it. There's no cameras in the courtroom. It's federal courthouse. There will be no cell phones. There will be no pictures. The most you're ever going to get is a sketch artist. But as far as this, do you expect a big protest turnout? Ameer, 30 seconds for you.
It's hard to say. They expected a big turnout when he was arraigned on Alvin Bragg's indictment up in Manhattan, and that didn't materialize. Obviously, security is going to be, really, really high today. And former president, he's going to be surrounded by his security detail as well as the security on the street. So yeah, I don't know whether that's going to turn people away or not, but I think people have a right to feel that there are a two-tier justice system here, and people will show up. Some people, to express their frustration and anger at what's clearly, an unlevel playing field, depending on which party the defendant is affiliated with.
It's been a peaceful protest so far. We'll hope it continues throughout the day. Ameer Benno, Jesse Binnall, joining us live here on National Report. Thank you both. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Coming up,